Hi, this is Randy Rosetta with NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune with the final LSU baseball vlog of the season. Tigers' season came to an end tonight here in Omaha with an 8-4 loss to TCU in a game that really got away from LSU on the mound. Down to kind of the Johnny Holstaff approach in this game to stay alive, it just didn't work tonight. It's a thing that has worked very well for LSU on and off the last few seasons. They've won 18 games that way this year, but it just didn't work tonight. Zach Pearson couldn't get it going in the second inning after he'd been given a lead, and several other relievers struggled too. A couple of guys did throw well. Hunter Newman and Doug Norman did throw well. Paul Mainieri and Alan Dunn had to kind of shift gears, though. They came in. Paul Mainieri made a point of saying that the Johnny Holstaff thing works best when you're proactive and not reactive. I thought tonight they had to switch from being proactive to being reactive because some of the relievers struggled. And it wasn't that they were getting knocked around. It was struggles with command of the strike zone. Zach Pearson walked a couple. Austin Bain walked a couple. Jesse Stallings late in the game walked a guy to start an inning. They only had 5 walks, but 4 of those walks came home to score, and the 5th one came with the bases loaded to force another run in. And when that happens against a team that's not great offensively like TCU, you're basically just handing them opportunities, which LSU's pitching staff all season has avoided doing for the most part. But in this very key moment here in Omaha, they were unable to. Now, offensively, early on, the Tigers did some good things. Got to the 1-0 lead, came back and tied the game 3-3 after Zach Pearson got in some trouble in the second inning. But then TCU coach Jim Schlossnagle didn't like what he was seeing from his starter, so he went to a kid named Trey Teakle in the 4th inning, and after that it was pretty much lights out for LSU over the next 4.5-5 innings. He retired every batter he faced, all 13 of them, got out of the inning when he entered with no problem, and then went 4 innings in a row where he just didn't allow anything. And that kind of took the starch out of the LSU offense, which had kind of gotten things going against Cal State Fullerton, had 4 hits early in this game. Looked like maybe it was going to turn this into a back-and-forth game, but he slammed the door on that. And after he did that, Austin Bain's struggles kind of came back and bit LSU in the behind. They gave up another 3-run inning, turned a 3-3 game into 6-3. Even though it was just 3 runs, the way Teakle was pitching, it looked insurmountable, and it turned out to be. LSU did score a run late in the game. Actually had Alex Bregman on deck as the potential tying run, but just weren't able to get the job done. Had, like I said, a couple of hits late. This was the last chapter of an incredible story for LSU. They finished 54-12. They win the SEC regular season. They get to Omaha for the second time in 3 years. You talk to players afterwards, and they talked about how this was a dream season, how everything they wanted to happen except the national championship happened. When you hear players talk like that, you know it's been special to them. Again, they wanted to come and win the national championship. When you play at LSU and put that uniform on, that's what you intend to do. They didn't get it done. The last time they won was 2009. But to me, the program is where it needs to be. They've gotten back to the point where they're annual contenders for this stage. Next year's going to be a little bit different. They're going to have to do it in a different way. They lose all but one position player, Jake Fraley. Pitching staff is pretty much back intact. A lot of these freshmen will have to grow up in the offseason, do some things. And in particular, I think Austin Bain, Doug Norman, Jake Godfrey are 3 guys that really have to take that next step. And I think Jesse Stallings has to go and figure out how he can be an effective reliever, if not a closer, at least an effective reliever with more than one pitch, the fastball, to rely on. Alex Lang and Jared Poche give them a great 1-2 punch. They need to add a 3rd and a 4th starter. That was the difference in the 2 games with TCU and with the other teams remaining here, is pitching depth. LSU could hit with anybody all season long. But when you get to this stage, you've got to be able to pitch, and you've got to be able to pitch deep into tournaments and with starters. You can't piece it together and expect it to work all the time, as tonight kind of proved out. LSU has some guys coming in. They've got Jake Latz back if they can get him healthy. If any of those 3 freshmen I mentioned before can kind of ratchet up their game. And they've got Cole McKay coming in from Texas. There's going to be depth. There's going to be talent. Now, can the guys take the next step? Alex Lang, I don't think there's any question. He's the ace of this staff the next few years. Jared Poche is kind of that steady leader, maybe the 2 or 3 starter next year. But LSU needs a couple more guys so that they can match starter, bullpen with teams like TCU in the future. But there should be nothing taken away from what this team did this season with a bunch of seniors, 4 senior starters, a bunch of juniors who got drafted. Let's not forget 7 of those 9 position regulars got drafted. One of them couldn't because he was a sophomore, and one of them, Chris Shambra, is a guy who didn't play regularly again until this year. I have a feeling if he wants to go to try out for a big league team, he'll hang around as long as he wants to if he doesn't want to go on with life. So you're talking about losing a lot, but this is a team that accomplished an incredible thing this season. You win 54 games, you win the SEC, you can't emphasize that enough, how big that is, and you get to Omaha, you've marked an awful lot of things off your list. But the season comes to a close a little bit short of where the Tigers wanted it. They move into next season with a very talented pitching staff and some work to do to rebuild the lineup. This is Randy Rosetta with NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune signing off for the 2015 season with an LSU baseball vlog.